Ever find yourself wandering through a museum, like
Yeah.
mesmerized by, a dinosaur skeleton or ancient artifacts, and you think, how did this even get here?
It's fascinating, isn't it?
Totally. And who are the people taking care of all this stuff? Well, that's what we're diving into today, the world of a museum scientist.
It's a career that's honestly both fascinating, A&D, surprisingly dynamic. Forget those dusty old stereotypes.
Right.
Museum scientists are the storytellers, the detectives even, and of course the caretakers of all our history.
So we're talking way more than just dinosaurs here, right?
Oh, yeah.
For this deep dive, we found this career guide, and wow, museum scientists work with everything. Natural history specimens,
Right.
anthropological artifacts, historical documents, even those super delicate, like Victorian butterfly
This is
collections.
amazing.
It's a lot. It's about preserving and managing these collections, which is no small feat.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Every single artifact, every single specimen has a story to tell. Museum scientists make sure those stories stay alive. They're the conservation experts, meticulously cleaning, preserving, documenting these pieces of the past.
It's more than just preservation, though, right?
Oh, yeah.
The guide talked about the research side, too. These folks are like historical detectives.
Exactly.
They use their expertise to analyze and interpret objects,
Hmm.
uncovering those hidden meanings and piecing together these narratives.
Exactly. Like imagine they find a simple clay pot during an excavation. Seems boring, right?
Yeah.
But a museum scientist analyzes it and figures out its age, its purpose, maybe even clues about the people who used it centuries ago.
Wow. So they're like bringing the past to life.
Yes.
But it doesn't stop there. They've uncovered the stories, now they have to share them, which is where exhibit design comes in.
This is where it gets really exciting.
Hmm.
Designing museum exhibits. It's art and science together. It's about creating those immersive experiences that grab you and making complicated information easy for everyone to understand.
And I was blown away by how much tech museums use now. Our guide mentioned virtual reality, interactive touchscreens. It's incredible. I even read about one museum that recreated a Roman gladiator battle in VR. Can you imagine?
It's amazing how technology changes how we experience museums.
Mm.
And it's not just about fancy tech either. It's about connecting the visitor to what they're seeing.
Okay, so this all sounds incredible, but realistically,
Yeah.
is this a hard career path? What's the job market actually like? I mean, these are important questions.
You're right. No, sugarcoating it, the museum field is competitive. Jobs are growing, but it takes serious dedication, and usually you need an advanced degree.
Makes sense. It's very specialized knowledge. But I'm also hearing that for the right person, this could be so rewarding.
Yeah, for the right person, it's amazing. There's nothing like working with pieces of the past,
Yeah.
uncovering those hidden stories and then getting to share them. It's really something.
That's a great way to put it. So for our listeners out there who are thinking museum career,
Yeah.
what's step one?
Well, internships were a big deal in the career guide, which makes sense. You got to get that hands-on experience right, especially in a field like this.
So it's not just book learning.
Right.
It's about getting your hands dirty, literally maybe, with those artifacts.
Exactly. And internships are great for networking too.
Yeah.
You're working right alongside those museum pros, learning their stuff, making connections, could even lead to a job later on.
It's all about who you know.
Often is.
A good portfolio probably helps too, right?
Well, absolutely.
Mm.
When you're applying for these museum jobs, a strong portfolio makes you stand out. It shows your passion, your skills, what makes you unique.
I noticed the guide said 73% of museum scientists need customer service skills. Kind of surprised me at first, I'm not going to lie.
Really?
But then it hit me, museums are all about the visitors, right? You got to be good with people.
Exactly. A museum scientist could be restoring a tapestry that's hundreds of years old in the morning and then leading a tour in the afternoon, talking to all kinds of people.
Wow, that's a wild contrast. Sounds like you need a lot of different skills to really thrive in this field. The guide also said that a lot of museum scientists use computers and electronics these days. That's not something I would have thought of.
It shows how museums are changing. They're using more and more technology to make exhibits better, get visitors engaged, even help with research.
Like that museum I read about, they used 3D modeling to rebuild a whole Egyptian tomb. You could walk through it virtually, see the hieroglyphics up close, learn about all the artifacts that used to be there. So cool.
And we're just getting started, really. As technology gets even better, I think museums are going to get even more innovative. It's a really exciting time to be in the field.
You've really painted this amazing picture of the museum world and everything it could be. But I do wonder, what are some of the challenges?
Well, like we said before, it's a competitive field.
Yeah.
And museum funding can be tough. which can mean lower salaries sometimes, and even worries about job security. Plus, with technology changing so fast, museum professionals have to keep learning new things all the time.
It does sound like you really need to be passionate about it, but that there are some amazing rewards if you are.
Yeah, definitely. And the guide really stressed that too, finding that right fit. You know,
Yeah.
they even suggested joining some of those professional organizations,
Oh, okay.
like the American Alliance of Museums.
Hmm.
You get to
Yeah.
connect with other museum people, learn about different jobs, see what it's really like.
It's like insider access.
Totally.
Speaking of insider access, let's talk about interviews for a minute. Our friends at RoleCatcher gave us some really cool insights into what hiring managers look for.
Mm-hmm.
They even shared some common interview questions.
Yeah, those were good. And remember, every museum is different. Every job in a museum is different too.
True.
So they might ask about your experience with exhibits or working with certain types of collections,
Oh, interesting.
or even your thoughts on what museums are for, like what their role is in society.
So it's not just knowing the stuff, it's about showing your passion, your own unique way of seeing things.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Be ready to talk about what excites you about museums, what you're good at, how you would contribute.
Just be yourself, let your passion show.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to ask your own questions too. It goes both ways. It's your chance to figure out if the museum's a good fit for you too.
So as we wrap up our deep dive into the museum world, what's the one thing you want our listeners to remember?
You know, when you really think about it, museums are all about stories. The stories we tell about ourselves, about history, about the world.
That's a good way to put it.
And museum scientists are the ones who make those stories come alive. It takes curiosity and creativity and a real love for the past.
I love that. Making stories come alive. What a perfect thought to end on. So if you're thinking about a museum career, remember it's about way more than just the objects.
Right.
It's about passion, purpose, and the power of those stories. We want to hear your stories too. What surprised you about the world of museum science? What questions do you still have? Head to social media and let us know using #TheDeepDive. Until next time, keep exploring.